Does God exist?
I know in my last video I cheated a little bit. I went after someone who presented the saddest and most pathetic arguments I've ever heard. So, before anyone can say that I picked the easy targets, I wanted to show that an atheist saint made of straw can hang with what the opposition might call the best of them. Let me guess, you're going to present an argument to, quote-unquote, prove God exists without actually providing any evidence.
Or is the material universe all that is, or ever was, or ever will be? One approach to answering this question is the cosmological argument.
Not even a new argument. An old, used-up one. One that has been continuously shown to be utter nonsense in its construction. How am I supposed to show that I can do this if I can't even be presented with a new, exciting, and challenging argument?
It goes like this. Whatever begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist. Therefore, the universe has a cause.
Did you really need to present it again? Honestly, every atheist on YouTube has answered this stupid argument.
Is the first premise true? Let's consider. Believing that something can pop into existence without a cause is more of a stretch than believing in magic. At least with magic, you've got a hat and a magician.
No, not really. Seriously though, this is starting to look like the familiar straw man atheist belief that the universe just popped into existence, which of course is not the case. If you can't be honest with what your opposition has to say, you cannot be trusted to be honest with anything.
And if something can come into being from nothing, then why don't we see this happening all the time? No, everyday experience and scientific evidence confirm our first premise. If something begins to exist, it must have a cause.
Premise 1. I have a sudden onset headache. Premise 2. Tired and stupid arguments cause sudden onset headaches. Therefore, your tired and stupid argument has caused me to have a sudden onset headache. This whole stupid argument simply ignores the possibility of infinitely regressive causes, which leads to the special pleading fallacy of the assertion that God is the first cause. Not to mention, it completely ignores the question of what caused God's existence by claiming, without evidence, that God is the eternal cause of everything.
But what about our second premise? Did the universe begin, or has it always existed? Atheists have typically said that the universe has been here forever. The universe is just there, and that's all.
Fancy bit of quote mining there. It actually took me all of 10 minutes to find out what the late Bertrand Russell was actually saying when he said that. But first, let me address the assertion that atheists believe the universe to be an eternally existing thing. This is a flat-out falsehood, and one that I can safely suspect you of knowing that to be the case because earlier in this same fucking video, you said that atheists believe that the universe just popped into existence. Most, if not all atheists, have some reliance on scientific theory for knowledge of the working universe. We, unlike Christians, like to know what it is we believe. A study from 2012, posted to ChristianityToday.com, showed that 80% of Christians do not read their Bible regularly. And I have no reason to suspect that number has dropped in any significant way. Atheists know that the universe had a definite beginning. The science community calls it the Big Bang Theory. What we do not do is pretend to know what may have ultimately caused the Big Bang. We, again unlike Christians, admit our ignorance where it applies. Now, back to our mutual friend, the late Bertrand Russell. The quote you mined is from a debate that took place in 1948 between him and a Catholic priest, Frederick Copleston. Bertrand was not asserting that there is no cause and that the universe is eternal. He was expressing to someone equally frustrating as modern apologists that the seeking of a cause, as you define it, is meaningless.
First, let's consider the second law of thermodynamics.
Well, here's to hoping you actually understand it.
It tells us the universe is slowly running out of usable energy. And that's the point. If the universe had been here forever, it would have run out of usable energy by now.
At least you tried. The heat death of the universe hypothesis is contingent on the currently unknown factor of the universe actually having an entropy limit. While the entropy is increasing, and recent findings show that it actually has a higher level of entropy than previously thought, I can find no source able to show a known maximum level of entropy for the universe. So your statement that the universe will run out of usable energy is still a much debated conclusion.
The second law points us to a universe that has a definite beginning. This is further confirmed by a series of remarkable scientific discoveries. In 1915, Albert Einstein presented his general theory of relativity. This allowed us, for the first time, to talk meaningfully about the past history of the universe.
Well, at least you're able to admit that all that creation talk that took place before Einstein was meaningless. If we could only get you to shut up about it now. At least until you get some real evidence for it anyway.
Next, Alexander Friedman and George Lemaitre, each working with Einstein's equations, predicted that the universe is expanding. Then in 1929, Edwin Hubble measured the red shift in light from distant galaxies. This empirical evidence confirmed not only that the universe is expanding, but that it sprang into being from a single point in the finite past. It was a monumental discovery, almost beyond comprehension. However, not everyone is fond of a finite universe, so it wasn't long before alternative models popped into existence. But one by one, these models failed to stand the test of time.
Only one of those theories could even be seen as saying there is no finite age of the universe.
More recently, three leading cosmologists, Arvin Bord, Alan Guth, and Alexander Vilenkin, prove that any universe which has on average been expanding throughout its history cannot be eternal in the past, but must have an absolute beginning.
Still throwing that out there, huh? Well, I'm going to go ahead and let Vilenkin respond himself. Because the author of the Arizona Atheist blog asked Vilenkin if his theorem with Guth and Bord proves the universe had a beginning, and Vilenkin responded with this, quote, "If someone asked me whether or not the theorem I proved with Bord and Guth implies that the universe had a beginning, I would say that the short answer is yes. If you are willing to get into subtleties, then the answer is no, but. So there are ways to get around having a beginning, but then you are forced to have something nearly as special as a beginning." Unquote. Oh, and one last thing. Nothing in the Bord-Guth-Vilenkin paper suggests the beginning from absolute nothingness.
This even applies to the multiverse, if there is such a thing. This means that scientists can no longer hide behind a past eternal universe. There is no escape. They have to face the problem of a cosmic beginning.
What the fuck are you talking about? Hiding? Who the fuck is hiding? Scientists are seeking the truth, real knowledge, not your style of presupposition that avoids looking for real answers, but instead assumes to already have them in the form of some archaic tome written by people who had no understanding of how the universe even worked, let alone how it began.
Any adequate model must have a beginning, just like the standard model. It's quite plausible then that both premises of the argument are true. This means that the conclusion is also true. The universe has a cause.
Premise 1. All birds have beaks. Premise 2. All tortoises have beaks. Therefore, all tortoises are birds. You see how a false conclusion can come from true premises yet?
And since the universe can't cause itself, its cause must be beyond the space-time universe. It must be spaceless, timeless, immaterial, uncaused, and unimaginably powerful. Much like God.
And the circular reasoning comes full circle. Yay, God! We don't know, therefore God. Yay, God! Seriously? First, how do you know the universe could not have caused itself? The Big Bang Theory pretty much says that it did, and I see you gave it a wide berth by implying it but never mentioning it. Funny how the cause you suggest must have certain qualities that you attribute to God. It couldn't have been something else. It must be the God that was invented by people thousands of years ago. People who thought the earth was flat and the stars were tiny lights in the firmament. People who thought the sun revolved around the earth and the moon was a source of light. These are the people you are choosing to believe over those who dedicated their lives to learning and understanding the workings of the universe. people who studied the works of the people who came before them and expanded upon that knowledge, people who collected new information, disregarded the old information that was shown to be inaccurate, the very people whose work you are trying to use to prove them wrong by saying their work is right.